Hi, everyone. Jennifer Dawes. I'm wanting to talk today about a topic that I think has probably affected a bit of all of us from time to time. I know it's affected me quite a bit over the years. It's what do you do when inspiration feels like it's run flat or dry, or you're stuck in a project and can't seem to make sense of it, or things are just not clicking the way that you want them to. So I'm going to walk through a little bit of what I've done and some words of advice on how to get unstuck. But first, in a creative space, I think the thing that I'm trying to unlock in my own head is getting stuck or the absence of that creative energy and juice, I think is really a good thing. I think it forces us to re-examine our process, what inspires us, maybe even gives us a chance to examine the projects that we started and didn't finish. So for me, I know in the last couple of months, I had a couple of really big projects. I worked on the Barbie project, which I really enjoyed. It ended up getting Viz of the Day. And it was just an open letter to Barbie. And my growing up with Barbie, and I spent a lot of time with ChatGPT creating these images for it, and the impact that Barbie had on society in the movie and everything else that went with it. So fun project, took me a lot of energy and time. And then right after that, it was Iron Viz season. So I jumped into working on a project that I felt inspired by Milton Hershey and his story of him and his wife. And so wanted to kind of pull together not only his story, but then the story of Hershey the business. So again, a lot of time, a lot of energy, felt really inspired. Didn't get exactly to spend as much time on this project this year as I wanted to, as I was recovering from surgery. Anyway, now I find myself just wanting to jump into another project because as a creative person, I feel wired to create. And so I also think it does help me professionally when I'm working on personal vizzes, just because it gives me the outlet to be a little bit crazy and wild with chart types. I get to experiment more and kind of just practice the craft of creating in Tableau. So right now I'm kind of feeling like I don't know where to go next. It's the end of the year. I know I'm going to be busy. I don't want to jump into another really big project. However, I feel that the itch to kind of get into something. Well, one thing that I have done from time to time over the years is go to my unfinished projects. This is not by all means all of the projects that I've started and not finished. These are just a few that made it to publication and then are hidden. And if you didn't know that you had that amazing feature that you can click and hide projects, it's really fantastic. So you can kind of save your work in progress. This one's been out here since 2020, 5 years. I crafted the map with X and Y coordinates based on a picture I saw and loved on the Chihuly website. But then the direction I wanted to take it, the data didn't necessarily fit. And so it ended up on the shelf. But when I get stuck on other projects, it's been a fun one to kind of pull down, download, tweak, and continue slowly moving. And then there were other ones, right? There's financial history of females that have impacted today's modern society and what it is that they did and who are those key women. Yeah, it's not stunning. The Viz extension wasn't available for publication. It looks a lot different on desktop. I still have icons to do. I don't know. I just wasn't sure what else I could do for that at the time, and it went on the shelf. And then if you followed my Vision process, you probably have seen my geometric animation. There's a GIF that I'm trying to recreate in Tableau just because it looked like a fun challenge. And at the time it was fun. I started this prior to Iron Viz. I actually started this prior to Dear Barbie. Um, and it's kind of sad. And so each time I get stuck, I pull it back down. So getting stuck, I kind of just want to say, I think it's a good thing. I think that energy of us trying to pull and find our next direction is really an opportunity for us to learn and to push. And if you can't find inspiration from your own work, go out and search Tableau Public. Even if you don't have your own profile and you're just maybe working on something and you can't seem to figure out how to do it next, I absolutely love looking at Tableau Public, finding a viz that really inspires me. Early on in my career, when I was learning Tableau, one of the number one things that I would do would be to download the Tableau workbook. Not everybody has that enabled, but when you have something that you do find really cool and you just want to understand how they do that, downloading the Tableau workbook, digging in, and seeing how they put it together can sometimes unlock ideas for you and a learning. So, yeah, if you get stuck, look to the community, look to the work that you haven't finished, find your inspiration, keep plugging around, keep experimenting and playing, because I think it's a good thing for our creative process, and we should lean into that. So, yeah, that's all I have. Hopefully, you guys can find a project to dig into and round out the end of the year. All right, thanks. Bye.